Welcome back to another episode of the McKinney Podcast, where we celebrate what makes us unique by nature. And this episode is about as last minute as any could ever possibly be. We're going to get into the details here in just a little bit, but our good friend Jordan Tate over at the McKinney Chamber, she reaches out, what was it? I don't know, 2 o'clock yesterday afternoon.
Yes.
And was like, hey, buddy, would you be down for having a conversation with my aunt, depending on where you come from in the country? She is on the board of 100 Women of McKinney, and we wanted to give them 5 minutes to talk about their organization and what they're doing to help nonprofits. And I'm just like, well, that sounds like something we'd want to have in an episode. And so I was like, well, sure, of course we can have you for 5 minutes, but do you want to just sit for a whole regular episode? And Monica was like, okay, sure, why not? And you brought your friend Staci here. Staci Heuvel, not Heuvel, Heuvel. I don't have the names in front of me, so I'm doing this from memory. I'm not very good at that, apparently.
You're doing good.
Fred, anything else you want to bring in? Any thoughts before we introduce our guests?
No, I just want to say that this is the first ever 2 women together at the same time. Actually, it's the first 2 women that we've ever had on the podcast.
We've had several female guests,
That's
but
right.
never 2 at the same time.
That's right.
So there you go. We got 4 X chromosomes sitting in 2 chairs.
That's right.
Man,
I mean, it's going to be
One way
fun.
to say it.
there you go. I'm a science kid. I can't help myself. Let's go ahead and get these ladies introduced, shall we? Hailing from the great city of McKinney in less than 24 hours notice. Gosh, this is fun. Don't you love podcasting? We are very glad to have with us 2 board members from 100 Women of McKinney. Please welcome Monica and Staci. Thanks so much, ladies, for being here.
Thanks
Thank
for having
you.
us.
Thank you.
We're excited to be here.
Yes.
So this podcast really is all about spreading awareness about what's happening in our great city and making sure that people know how things happen and who's doing them so that they can be enjoying their city better, be better informed, have more interesting conversations, and take full advantage of businesses and events and things such as we're talking about here today with 100 Women of McKinney. So glad y'all are here. I'm just going to go ahead and fade this little music out. And then I'd like to hear about 100 Women of McKinney. It's not very often that an organization comes across my email that I've literally never heard of. And I recognize I'm not the target market, of course, because I am neither 100 years old or a woman. So 100 Women of McKinney. I'm not that surprised I haven't heard of it. So fill us in. What's the story?
Yeah, so in 2017, I was part of the Valley Creek PTA, of course, as all moms are. And I had a friend, her name was Erin Crowell, and she was like, we need to do something. You know, we like to give back to the community. This community is important to us. What can we do? And so there was this organization in Lake Highlands in Dallas that was called the 100 Women of Lake Highlands. And basically what they did is they'd throw a party every 6 months. They'd throw a party, invite everybody that lives in Lake Highlands, and they would invite some nonprofits to come, tell a little bit about who they are and what they do. And then that night, they would all agree that they were going to contribute $100 to one of those nonprofits. And the idea, of course, is very simple. 100 women times $100 is a $10,000 local impact. And so the idea, we were just very simple. We were just trying to make a big impact in a local nonprofit. Because as much as it's great if I give a nonprofit $100, it is exponentially better if me and 100 of my friends give them $100 at the same time. So we were like, okay, how can we do this? So we had one of our skills as PTO moms was, let's throw a party. What else do you do? So we threw a party, and we were like, I don't know if anybody's going to come. Maybe people will come, maybe they won't. And back then it was called the 100 Women of El Dorado, because that's where we lived, and that's who we knew. And so lo and behold, a bunch of people showed up. And we were able to give McKinney Roots back then, which was literally growing food in their backyards, the 2 women that started McKinney Roots. We gave them our money. Now, we didn't reach our goal that night. We got to about 9,300, which was great.
Yeah.
That was awesome. But since 2017, we have been working really hard to get to that goal of $10,000 or more, right? Because the idea is, of course, we'd love 100 women. I'd love 200. Think what $20,000 would do.
Yeah.
Think what $30,000 would do. And we always try to pick nonprofits that are local and they make an impact in our community. And the great thing about McKinney, and I know that everybody knows this, is we have so many nonprofits that are doing so many great things, and nobody knows about them.
Yep.
You know, unless you're able to use their services or you hear about them from somebody else, you don't even know that they exist. So what we do is we throw a party now once a year, and it's fun, and we just call it Girls' Night Out with a purpose, right? Because we are asking you to bring $100, which is a significant amount of money. We understand. And so we want to make sure that you are having a fun night out. So we throw a big party, food, drinks, fun, friends. Anybody can come. Anybody in McKinney can come. We don't check addresses. If you want to bring your friends from Anna or Allen or wherever, we will take their money. And so we throw a big party. We invite 3 local nonprofits who apply through our application process, and we invite 3 of them to come talk to us. And I mean, just the exposure from those nonprofits in front of 100 plus women in McKinney who may have resources and opportunities to help them is a huge opportunity.
So, quick question immediately. You invite 3 and 1 gets the check. What's the consolation prize for the 2 that missed out?
The exposure.
I mean, that's the rub, right? I mean, if it's not appealing to you that you're like, well, I feel bad for the other 2, I totally understand that.
Yeah.
And because you're like, oh, they came and they did all this. But they also presented their mission and what they do to 100 women who have never heard of them before, I promise.
And many of those women end up volunteering or becoming part of those organizations just because of the exposure.
Mm-hmm.
So,
and I don't have any problem with winners and losers. I think that's life. Life is winners and losers. It is value creation. You are awarded based on your ability to create and sustain value. So the whole idea of it's not fair. It's like there is no fair. Fair does not exist.
and we have had those that didn't get the money one year
Reapply.
come back, reapply, and then they did. They were the recipient.
Is it like voting of the participants there in the room? Is like cast your ballot on who to give the money to?
So we're old school. There's a written ballot, and it has the
no
3
hanging
names.
chads, huh?
No hanging chads.
No hanging
you
chads.
You circle. Now, we've had a situation before where, we've come down to 2 tied. We had 2 tie at our event, a couple of events later back when we were at Tups. Tups was gracious enough to host us at their tap room, which was probably one of our best parties. It was so fun. And 2 of the organizations tied. So we did it again. We revoted just on those 2. They tied again.
Oh, no.
And so you're like, well, what are you going to do?
No, you're freaking at a political nomination
well,
convention.
and so,
at this point.
at
Rock,
this
paper,
point.
scissors.
Third
What do you
ballot.
do?
Well, and the third bell's going to turn out the same. So
Just Splitsville and give them both the
we
money.
split it,
That's
and we
right.
gave $5,000 to Jason Hernandez, and we gave $5,000 to
Oh, La
Elevate.
Tiendita.
Yeah.
And so they were both happy, and everybody in the room was happy.
The crowd goes wild, right?
The crowd goes wild. Yes. I mean, the greatest part and what I love the very most about this is getting to announce the winner and people being so excited.
Yeah.
And the nonprofits that aren't, that don't get selected, they're so excited to be there because the energy in that room is very fun. And you want to be a part of it. And I promise you will never regret coming.
If you ever found yourself needing someone to run the microphone or be master of ceremonies that night, I know a couple of guys who can light up a room.
And
So-
we have a wonderful MC, Amanda Baker Talley.
Oh, really?
Oh.
Yeah.
So
Does she
she's
sing
on
the
our
national
board.
anthem beforehand also?
Well, we haven't done the national
haven't got her to
anthem
sing
yet,
yet.
but she would be happy to sing. Of course, she's so good at that.
man,
but
she really
but
is.
she is great at
Yeah, so
being our MC.
Amanda was also a Valley Creek parent. And so she was a founding board member
There we go.
with Aaron and I.
There it
and
is.
So that's how we were lucky enough to get Amanda. And I mean, her and her mom, can you get more old school McKinney? I don't think
No.
so. I mean, it's been
That's right.
great. It's such a blessing to have them and participate and bring all the things that the bakers bring, which is, all the fun.
Oh, yeah. Lots of energy there for sure.
For sure.
So you both are McKinney moms, McKinney leaders, McKinney volunteers and advocates. I'd love for each one of you to just kind of humanize this thing. You're not just a volunteer robot. You're not, sitting here as 100 Women of McKinney, and that's your life. You got a lot of other things going on. What's the backstory here? Who wants to go first?
So I'll kind of start there. 25 years in McKinney. Raised my kids here. I've always loved being a part of McKinney and all that McKinney has to offer. And so, when you're a part of a community like we are, you want to give back to that community. And so just being involved in volunteering, so specific to 100 Women of McKinney, I've always gone to their events as one of those 100 women. And then when they were going to expand and no longer be 100 Women of El Dorado and of McKinney, they graciously brought me onto the board because I don't live in El Dorado, and I didn't grow up in that, and I have kids in different schools and kind of a different side to McKinney. So anyway, I kind of became involved that way, being at the events, and then I love the concept. So anyway, but so many great nonprofits in our community to volunteer with, and a lot of the bigger ones that really don't need our help as much. They're on their way, but delivering meals for Meals on Wheels and things like that. Great organizations, but it's like Staci said, we have such a community of givers, and those are the people that we want to connect with these nonprofits the night of our event. And we'll, in a little bit, talk about our next event that's coming up October 3rd.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I have been in McKinney for 14 years. I had 4 kids. I had 3 that went through the Dow Boyd situation and have all since graduated, and then my daughter is a junior at McKinney High. I believe in what McKinney sells for sure. I work for Carrie Cox Company. I'm a commercial real estate agent.
Oh, cool.
And obviously, old school McKinney. I mean, those guys.
Carrie Cox.
Yeah. I mean, David and Bill grew up here.
All 4 corners of the city is filled with Carrie Cox for lease, for sale signs.
That's right. That's where you go to work for
Love
sure.
Love it.
But they, they love community, and they've been so supportive of what we're doing, which has been nice. But I just think I grew up in Lubbock in West Texas, and my grandparents were very involved, did all the volunteer things, created that city. And that is what McKinney is. I mean, it is a small town, but it's growing. Yep. And how do we as a community continue to have what we have, which is great, which is the closeness and helping each other and helping your neighbors and, all of that. And that's kind of where my heart is, because I just think this community is great.
Fantastic. I'm going to ask you later to introduce us, to get the leaders of Carrie Cox to sit in these 2 chairs here.
I'll do that for sure.
They've been on my list for a while. We just haven't done anything about it yet because our list is rather lengthy.
Growing.
Yeah,
we've got a long list of people we want to get in these chairs. Fred, anything you want to?
Well, actually, you mentioned that some of your kids went to one high school and one is currently at another. Would you say that you have a favorite high school?
So the boys are my stepsons, and so that's why they went to Boyd. Of course, I've been in their life forever. So we were definitely Broncos, for sure. But as a high parent, my daughter's a Marquette, and so I'm super involved at McKinney High because you can't.
If you're a spirit mom, you're kind of stuck with it.
Right.
Yeah.
And so I pretty much bleed blue and gold. I mean, but the boys were already gone when Allie started.
So no
high,
real conflict of interest there.
No.
Okay.
None of those house divided bumper stickers, huh?
No, she was upset. She wasn't going to get to go to Boyd because obviously that's what we knew,
Sure.
And she'd grown up seeing the Balladors and all the things. But we've loved High. Cannot beat it.
Excellent.
How great is it that football stadium is the way that it is, where it's, a timeshare basically, where multiple high schools are all in there for their events and, graduations and big city functions get to happen there. I look down 75 and see that monstrosity in Allen. I'm just like, 7,500 students in one high school. That sounds miserable.
I think it's easy to get lost in a high school that
How in the world do you
size.
make an impact when you have 7,000 classmates?
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's hard.
Goodness. And then obviously the other end of the spectrum with Frisco having like, I don't know, 70
Right.
70 high
7,000
schools.
No, they only have 12. They have 12.
It's a lot of high
It's a
school.
lot of high schools. It's like, wait a second. McKinney and Frisco are almost the same size. There's about a 20,000 people difference in population. One has 3 high schools. The other has 12 high schools. Wow, that's a different philosophies here.
Right.
Sean Pratt, superintendent of McKinney ISD, is going to be sitting here in September. We will definitely have some questions on philosophy and where the lines are drawn and what growth looks like and whatnot. Where we have our kids are both in well, Emmy would be in elementary school, but we wanted to save her teachers. She's an August 1st birthday,
Yes.
and she is a living, breathing bulldozer of a human. So she'll be going to McClure next year. We've already warned Principal Harrison 2 years ago. A 3-year-old Emmy was made aware. All that to say, sorry, I'm totally rabbit trailing here. McClure added like 180 students from last year, and I know this may be a surprise, but they didn't add any square footage to the building.
No.
So it's still the same square footage as last year. So these school conversations and the life that our students have in McKinney, gosh, it's such an important thing. It's really interesting from your perspective because you guys aren't going after any one particular kind of organization to support. As we pivot here just a little bit, talking more in some granular details about the 100 Women of McKinney, how do you go about getting the 3 organizations? How do you decide who's up for debate?
Yeah, I mean, that's a good question.
Yeah.
So we have a very easy application. It's literally 2 pages. Because, again, we're all about simple. And I'm going to be really honest. I Google nonprofits in McKinney. And that's really, and I go to Volunteer McKinney.
Yeah.
Obviously, that website is huge. And I make a list of just ones that I've never heard of or ones that look interesting or, groups that they service that maybe we haven't had come, come before our group before. And I just send the application out to them. And obviously our members can send it to anybody they want. We send it out. We give them 2 weeks. We have a 2-week kind of application window. We give them 2 weeks to fill it out. Then when the application window closes, the board, which is us, we review every application together. We have a whole night where we sit down and we go through every application. And then we vote. And the top 3 vote getters is who gets invited.
Love it.
Yeah, I mean, again, this is the most simple organization. Everybody's like, oh, well, you could do this and you can do this and you could raise more money if you did this. I don't disagree. But what we're capable of is this. And sometimes you just have to start.
Yeah.
And this really was, let's just start. Throw a party because I know how to do that. And let's invite some nonprofits because that's important. And let's see what happens. And that's really all it's ever been.
Mm-hmm.
And it's amazing. I mean, it's just, everybody that comes is so surprised at how much fun they have. And it's not because, yes, we have food and drinks, but they are there with their friends. They're having fun, but you feel very, very good when you leave that night because you have just heard about 3 organizations in this community that you didn't know about, and they're doing amazing things. And we really try to focus on organizations that our money could really make a difference.
Yep.
Like Monica had said, I think Samaritan Inn is amazing, but they probably don't need our $10,000 as much as, La Tienda grocery store. I mean, it's just it's a lot of grassroots. Street Side Showers has been on our list before. They've been a recipient. I mean, what $10,000, what Larry can do with $10,000 is amazing.
Yeah.
City Church, they have a, children's ministry in East McKinney. I mean, they used to have service in a warehouse, and they had a dilapidated van, and they'd go pick the kids up, bring them to their warehouse, and feed them breakfast on Sundays because a lot of those kids are food insecure. Amazing. Well, now they have a huge building in East McKinney, and they have 5 vans. You know what I mean? Like, So
Yeah.
we've really found organizations that are just at the cusp of getting all the support they need.
Love
And we've been able to help them push a little bit further, which is huge.
Okay, so with your membership, the women who are a part of it, is there an application process?
Yeah,
Is
so-
it more than 2 pages?
Yeah, let's talk about that for a minute. So there really isn't a membership. So anybody can be part of 100 Women of McKinney. You basically give your $100, which goes directly to the nonprofit that evening, and you get to come enjoy the night.
What happens
The
the rest of the year?
$100. So we have sponsors who help us put the food and the
That was my
drinks
next
and, yeah,
question.
so
I
your
figured you were gonna go there.
$100 is not part of the party or
Yeah.
the event or any of that. It is a direct pass
There you go.
to the
I
nonprofit.
figured that was the case.
Yeah. So we're always looking for more women to come enjoy the evening and be a part of this. We're always looking for more nonprofits to apply, and we're always looking for sponsors to help us make it an awesome evening. And this year's event is at the McKinney Cotton Mill. And
Cool.
they, we had our event there last year as well. It was great, and they asked us if we wanted to host again. And the venue works perfect for what we're doing. And we had Regina Reed with Zen Zen as our wine sponsor, and then quite a few other sponsors, in the area that help us put on the food and the drinks and the venue and all of that. So, but back to it's hard to communicate that and stress enough that there is no membership. Anyone can be part of 100 Women of McKinney, and we want anyone that's interested in giving back and meeting other women that also like to give back to come to our event on October 3rd.
And guys,
Yeah.
you're not off the hook.
Yeah.
You can be an ally
Yes.
if you're like me and you're women adjacent.
Right?
Yes,
See?
yes.
I identify as a women adjacent.
Exactly.
We
There you
like
go.
allies. We'll let allies
and-
support us.
Push
Allies
her
can
to-
be in the tent as well, right?
That's right.
It's a big
Abs-
tent. There's plenty of room.
Correct.
So guys,
Absolutely.
so guys can show up.
Of
Okay.
course.
Absolutely.
We're not going to turn people away.
Yeah.
Guys have $100 too, Fred.
They
Okay?
do.
That's
they
right.
do.
Yeah.
Sorry, so
That's
October
right.
when?
So it's October 3rd at the McKinney Cotton Mill, 6 p.m. And again, just a fun girls' night out. Our theme this year, we always try to come up with a cute but not, over the top theme. But this is Ooh La La Paris this year. So, and we don't want to stress any, women. We can get stressed out about, oh no, I don't
What
have
am I gonna
anything to
wear?
wear. I can't
Yeah.
go. It's not. I mean, you come. People just come any way you want to come. We just try to give it a theme just because it's fun.
Yeah,
To-
I
to
just
have
want
a
to say,
theme.
that France, their flag colors are red, white, and blue. So just reach into the closet and grab something. You're pretty much good to go.
Exactly.
Is it America?
Exactly.
No, it's Paris, you
It's-
fool.
Obviously.
But that looks like a Texas flag. It's a Parisian flag.
It's
Right.
yeah.
That's
See,
right.
And so we
City
don't
of
want anybody
lights.
to get caught up in that. But we like to have
Yeah.
a fun theme, and again, just a fun night. And like Staci said, these nonprofits, they tend to pull at the heartstrings. It
Yep.
it gets emotional in a good way that night, and there are two that aren't recipients of the money, but they're recipients of a lot of awareness and a lot of
Yep.
people that now know about them, which
Well,
is
in
important.
nonprofit land, donations are great. They're really important. But volunteer hours and board nominees are every bit as important as
Exactly.
dollars.
And and that does come from that night.
100%.
So
Yeah, and I mean, I just think we want to reiterate the reason that we're not the 100 Women of El Dorado anymore is because we need to expand to more groups, right? We want to include as many people as we possibly can.
Yep.
So it started out, it was friends of ours. That's who came. You know, if there's 10 board members and we each bring 10 friends, that's 100 people. It's very easy math.
Yep.
But we added Monica, we added Kelly, we added other people to our board who don't have the same friend circle. But we want women that we don't know to come, because that is the beauty of this.
Yep.
Bring your friend, come and have a great time, meet new women, or allies, and you know,
Women adjacent.
women adjacent.
Did I come up with that term?
I like
did.
it. And, you know,
Hashtag.
it's just a fun night. And so we want everyone to know it is open to anyone. I mean,
Yeah.
it's not exclusive. You don't need to know us. I mean, the greatest thing that happened at the last event was I probably didn't know 60% of the women in there, which
Love
is great, right? Like, I want it to be more people.
Sweet.
So
Yeah, we can skip the lightning round. I think this is really straightforward, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. So how do people get in contact with you?
There you go.
So 100womenofmckinney.com.
it's 100 the
Website.
number.
So
Yeah,
100.
100
women.
womenofmckinney.com.
There you go.
We're also on
And-
Facebook.
Yep.
Of
We're on,
course.
yep,
Yeah.
on Facebook.
I know this happened really, really quickly. We'll get you guys a guest information form so you can put bios and links and whatever. We'll make sure all that goes out in the show notes.
Okay.
So if you're driving or you don't have the ability to write something down, just check the show notes. We'll have the link to social media channels and anything else that these ladies want to share with you to make sure we spread as much awareness as possible.
Yeah.
Any final words before we wrap this thing up?
Mainly, thank you.
Yeah.
Thanks for doing this so quickly. Thank you to Jordan for the connection and for you all, you know, letting us jump in here so quickly. And like we said, just, you know, this will help us create that awareness
There you
of
go.
our organization so that we can support these nonprofits.
Absolutely. And, you know, so it's about a month and a half away. You said it's beginning of October. So let's just put out that challenge there for the people who are listening, whether you are a woman or hashtag woman adjacent, that, you know, it's just $100. And I know that, you know, money is a touch point and an issue for people. But if you think about, you know, if I go out to dinner twice in the next month and a half, there's the money right there.
Yeah.
And while I will eat for one night, or if I took I believe you said it beforehand, that, you know, if I take $100 and I, you know, give that to someone, it might put a smile on their face for the moment, you know, but it really doesn't have a deep lasting impact. But if I choose to, rather than go out twice in the next month and a half, take that money, combine that with other people, come to the event, you know, how much further will that go? I might enjoy a steak 2 nights in a row, but someone else might have
It's huge.
a serious impact and an improvement in their outlook, in their organization, in what they support. So,
Absolutely.
you know, we know that the people who listen to this podcast are the good and unique people of McKinney.
Yep.
And they need
100%.
to step it up. Step it up.
Yeah.
Let's go.
I mean, give us a chance.
go.
Give it
Yeah.
a try.
And
Yeah.
at the end of the day, it's a good time with some interesting ladies that maybe you don't have any
Right.
previous knowledge of. You make a new friend, make a new for for my in-laws a new pickleball partner.
Totally.
I mean, who
I'm
knows?
all about
All
pickleball.
The possibilities.
The
are endless.
odds are very good that you're all about
See?
pickleball. I feel like everybody's all about pickleball these days.
It's
No,
fun.
it's about the only athletic thing that my mother-in-law has a good chance to beat me in.
Okay.
Well,
So-
we'll take it.
Yeah,
That's fun.
I'm going to beat her at almost every other athletic thing, but if I step on the pickleball court, I'm about to get smoked.
You're going
You
down.
might be the loser.
Oh, I probably would be. Yeah. No. Ladies, this has been wonderful. Monica and Staci, thank you so much for letting us know about the 100 Women of McKinney. We'll drop this episode probably the first week of September, get it about a month out, and we'll go from there. And
Great.
this has been another episode of the McKinney Podcast, celebrating what makes us unique by nature. Catch you next time, ladies and gentlemen. Y'all take care.